Yes, Sophia. So let's start with a new lesson with you, and that is plant water relations. Okay. Now this is completely a plant physiology topic. Okay. See, we have discussed control and coordination. Before that, we have seen respiration, circulation. That was also physiology, but that was human physiology. So we have seen all different types of functional aspects when it comes to any living organism. Correct? Okay, within a living organism, all the organs, their organ systems, how they are arranged, their anatomical structure, and how do they function according to their requirement. So the same applies for even plants, because ultimately plants are also living organisms. Their mechanism, their working is different from that of animals and human beings, but ultimately they are living organisms. They also have organs, they also have their functions going on within them, and they are the ones which form the producers of the ecosystem.
Yes.
So that's why we are going to learn about this topic, which is called as plant water relations. Okay, now from name, what do you understand? A very simplest point if I raise over here, like if you have a potted plant at home, any plant you must, okay, or if you go to your society garden or somewhere, you know very well, any plant if you see, the basic requirement in which every plant needs is water.
Water.
Correct. If you have a potted plant at home, and say for example, you everybody in your family will go out of station for about 3 to 4 days. Your house is and your plants are, the day when you went, you have given the water. After that, only after you return, you will be able to give. Suppose. So you notice some plant. Nobody was able to provide water to it. Do you notice some change in the plant after you come back?
Yes.
What is the change that you notice?
Suka leaves start.
Yes, the leaves start. Normally ऐसे leaves एकदम fit रहते हैं, वैसे टोक करके correct? And the plant also looks very withered and all, एकदम ऐसा प्यासा जैसा. But if you provide water at the right time, it might be possible that the leaves again become healthy and the plant becomes erect once again. That means what simple observation which indicates that every plant they need water. The amount of water needed by every plant might be different. Now, if you have a plant like say aloe vera.
Okay, I have.
Aloe vera.
Yes.
Yes, every girl knows about it because it is commonly called as Kumari Asava.
Kumari?
Asava. ये उसका नाम है aloe vera का. Because it is very commonly used to make cosmetic products, which are used mainly by girls and women. Okay, that's what's called.
Yes, yes.
That is a plant, you know very well, which does not require too much water. It's a desert plant, a xerophytic plant. Okay. Having aloe vera or such a plant at home, you don't need, even if you are there at home, you should not give too much water. Because if you give such a plant too much water, then it will dry and it will fall off.
Oh, yes.
Because they are already having that adaptation to live in very less water conditions. So, मेरा plant अगर ज़्यादा पानी दे देंगे तो you are actually causing damage to the plant. Getting it? The requirement for every plant also has to be understood. So here in this lesson, because it is about plant water relations, we have to observe one thing. See, first in a very nutshell, I will show you. Suppose if this the plant, any random plant, okay, it is there in the soil. There are roots. Sorry, imagine these to be root. Okay, okay. There are branches, right?
Okay.
The tips of the branches, there are the root hair present.
Yes.
Correct. This is a very root hair which is in contact with the soil.
Soil, yes.
And from the stem, there is a branch coming up. Yes. On the branch, there are leaves present.
Yeah.
Correct. So you have seen the structure of a leaf also. From the top of a leaf is called petiole. That petiole continues from the midrib. Then there are veins. right? And
Oh
that
yes, I
and the
remember.
branch is called veinlets.
Okay.
Now imagine this scenario for any plant.
Any
Okay?
plant.
Yeah. Now the main thing is when water is given to the plant, we add water to the soil over here.
Okay.
Right. Now in the soil, the main thing, the part of the plant which absorbs the water is your root hair.
Root hair. Yes.
Correct. So when the root hair absorbs the water, it enters the plant system.
Hmm.
And then from the root hair, where does it go? Considering it to be a normal dicotyledonous plant.
Okay. That.
रूट हेयर उसके बाद आता है सेकेंडरी रूट इनसाइड द रूट
Oh yes. Huh.
of the root called secondary root which will
Okay.
go into the primary root.
Root hair. Secondary root. Primary root.
Branches has tertiary roots also. Okay.
Oh no. Okay. Got it.
This is secondary root say primary root. That is the main root. This
Okay.
main root internally continues upwards to form the
From the stem. Yes.
correct. If it is a tree, then you can call it as a trunk.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So see from the root hair, when it goes to the secondary root,
Hmm.
inside the root, the water has reached the xylem tissue. If you remember,
Xylem and phloem. Yes.
phloem नहीं, यहाँ पे पानी का बात हो रहा है. So it is the xylem which is the one which conducts.
Okay. Huh.
Phloem tissue is involved in conduction of the food that is prepared by the plant.
Yes.
Right here it is the xylem, so it is conducting water with the dissolved nutrients. That is called as the sap.
Oh yes. Correct.
तो
Yes.
यहाँ पे स्टेम के अंदर से जो रूट से होते हुए स्टेम में जा रहा है, that is the sap which is being conducted. Correct? तो
Okay.
stem, trunk, then it will go to the branches.
Branches. Yes.
Correct? It may have many of the plants they have branches. I am showing you all possible options. Right? On the branches there are the leaves present.
Hmm.
So from the branch it will go into the
Petiole.
petiole of the leaf. Correct?
Hmm.
Right?
Yes.
See, from the secondary root, once the water has entered the xylem, it is the same xylem which is continuing upwards, through which the water.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
petiole, the petiole then continues to form the midrib,
Yes.
right? The midrib will branch out to form the veins.
Yes. Yes.
Veins will further branch out to form the veinlets,
Let's. Yes.
and
I
then
remember this.
veinlets, it will go into the mesophyll tissue of the leaf.
Mesophyll.
लीफ के अंदर का सेक्शन अगर हम लेते हैं, so in
Hmm.
the leaf between both the epidermis there is the parenchymatous tissue present, which is mostly
Oh yes. 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 I remember. Mesophyll. Mesophyll.
okay. So it is the mesophyll cell of the leaf where this water reaches, and this is where the water is used up.
Okay. Got it.
So this is a broad picture I have shown you about the pathway of the water in the plant.
Okay.
Got it? Ki the water
Yes.
and
Got it.
root hair.
Root hair.
Okay. The water enters through the root.
Root hair.
Okay.
Yes.
Enters from the root hair to the secondary, to the primary root, to the stem, to the branch, to the petiole. Okay. Then into the midrib and ultimately reaches the cells of the leaf.
Correct. Got it.
Right?
Got it.
Now you can imagine very tall trees with huge branches. Imagine उस plant का root hair कितना अंदर होगा, and
Oh.
most leaf of that plant.
Yes.
And this is why we are talking about the absorption of the water and transporting it all the way to the leaves. This is something the plants will require always.
Correct.
Water is one of the very basic requirements for the growth and survival of the plant.
Yes.
ये जो पूरा pathway है, this is against gravity.
Yes.
Within the plant, okay, however huge it might be, what must be the mechanism कि जमीन से वो पानी absorb कर रहा है and against gravity इतनी ऊंचाई तक पहुंचा है. And यहाँ पे for I've shown you just one leaf. Imagine a huge tree with many leaflets. कितना सारा पानी कितने सारे cells में जाते होंगे. So it's a huge thing that we are talking about. Okay, so ultimately this entire thing is divided into three main processes. At the soil, below the soil, sorry. Okay.
Soil.
Below
Yes.
soil, okay, whatever is happening, the root hair is taking up the water into the system. Okay,
Yes.
putting it all the way to the main root. We call it absorption.
Oh yes. Absorption.
Called
Absorption.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay, then from the main root to the stem upwards, when it is reaching all the way to the leaves, इस second step को बोलेंगे translocation.
Translocation.
Yeah, it is
Because the
translocation, not the DNA wala. That is different.
oh, this is different.
This is about the plant physiology we are talking about. No?
Oh yes.
Sport of the sap which is happening. So ये translocation. And then when the water reaches the leaves in the mesophyll, these are cells where the water is used up. Now, where the amount of water that reaches the mesophyll is normally very plants बहुत सारा पानी absorb कर लेते हैं. But all the water that is absorbed and translocated is not used by the plant. Large portion of the water is only lost from the leaves, evaporated.
What?
Okay, leaves के surface में से बहुत सारा पानी directly सिर्फ evaporate हो जाते हैं. Approximately 10% of the water is just used by the plant. 90% के आसपास जो है वो evaporate हो जाते हैं. So that evaporative loss from the leaves that take place, उसको बोलते हैं transpiration. Yes.
Only 10%. इतना सारा पानी लेने के बाद 10%.
Yes, but that is unavoidable. It is unavoidable. So when you
I never knew that. I thought पानी जा रहा है.
You know many things about this. अभी तो start किया ना, listen. Okay, so ultimately when we are talking about plant-water relations, we have to understand everything basically with respect to these three steps. Okay, how do the plants absorb water from the soil? How do they make sure that they are transported upwards against gravity? And how this transpiration takes place, whether it is beneficial, whether it is harmful, and how the plants are able to maintain themselves. So in some related बहुत सारे terminologies सब आएंगे that we are going to see in this lesson. That is the main overview about plant-water relations. समझा अच्छी तरह से?
हाँ समझा.
Clear. We'll come to this once again. वापस अभी, but just on a broader way, I am taking you to the topic.
Okay.
Okay.
समझा.
Sure, properly.
Yes.
You can take a snap of.
Yes. Okay. 1 second.
I have saved. Send you this one also.
Oh, I can see you.
Okay. I have saved this, so ये भी मैं भेजता हूँ बाद में. Okay. So I have given you an overview about what is plant-water relations. Now let's go ahead and come to the main topic right from the beginning. Is my slide visible? Is my slide visible?
Oh, okay, finally. Oh, I can see the slide. Sir, I wanted to take that pic.
I have downloaded it. I will send you.
Okay, fine. Good. Fine.
Yeah. So this is the lesson that we are actually beginning with, that is plant water relations.
Relation. Yeah.
This representative picture you can see, you might have any plant, maybe in a pot or a garden or wherever, but the plant is growing nicely in the soil. The main thing which you add to the soil is water.
Which it doesn't.
Yes. See here, when you say plant, most often we are talking about angiosperm plant. Gymnosperms we have, endophytes we have, ornamentals है सब है, but the major requirement is by angiosperms. Because Alligator को तो पानी के बिना वैसे ही नहीं survive करेंगे. Pteridophytes are ornamental plants. They are also required, and most of them you grow in pots या hanging basket में grow करते तो उनको भी पानी देना होता है. Gymnosperms them are trees. So in the forest they get their own water. In the snow-clad regions and all they get it. So the maximum diversity that you get is among the angiosperms. So
okay, got it.
The group we are talking about in general plants. Okay? So when you are talking about plants, you know very well that we are talking about the relationship of plants with water. Correct?
Yes.
When you say plants with water, water is such a unique compound which the earth has created. If you go back to the origin of the earth, okay, right? Earth जब बना, so in the entire universe, based on what we are aware till now, Earth is the only such a unique planet where we are getting such a unique compound, and it is now we can tell this 1000% sure that this entire life that is existing is because of this water.
Of course, yes.
Correct? So water basically क्या important points हैं? This compound, this substance, इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं elixir of life.
हाँ? ये मैं first time सुन रही हूँ.
No life can exist without water.
Elixir मतलब?
Elixir मतलब one of the most important basic requirement.
Oh, elixir.
Right?
Okay.
You have learned about the structure of a cell also. So you know that in the cell, in a living cell, there is something called cytoplasm, which mainly contains water. So ultimately, water, that is H2O, it is colorless, no color.
Yeah.
It is odorless, no odor.
Yeah.
Tasteless. But imagine such a substance is the one which is sustaining life. Colorless, odorless, tasteless.
Tasteless.
Not applicable only for plants or something, even for us. जब हमें बहुत लगता है तो पानी ही चाहिए. उस टाइम पे मिल्क शेक पी लेंगे तो भी वो प्यास नहीं बुझेगा. What we need is water. Nothing else.
Yes.
Water. Correct? So, a universal solvent, you have learned that in chemistry.
Universal solvent. Yes.
It can dissolve a maximum number of solutes in it, and this becomes a very important principle for the survival of any living organism.
Yes.
Okay. Then it is an inert inorganic compound.
Inert म्हणजे?
Not very reactive.
Not very reactive.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Compare it to a compound like say sodium hydroxide, NaOH.
Yes.
वाटर कैसा है? सामने शांत है. Like ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने किसी कंपाउंड में डाल दिया तो तुरंत रिएक्ट कर लेगा. Okay. Inert. Okay, and it is the only it is one of the substances which has got a
neutral pH. Yes, correct.
Neutral pH मतलब what is the value?
7.
Correct. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and this is the only compound which can exist in all three states of matter.
Yeah.
You get liquid.
Yes. ये सब मैंने पढ़ा है. Yeah.
यहाँ बेसिक से शुरू कर रहा हूँ. Okay, you get liquid water, you get water in a solid state in the form of ice or snow, and you also get water in the form of vapor, that is humidity.
Yeah.
All three forms you are getting it, and that also becomes very important for the survival of life, especially plants over here.
Correct. Yeah.
And it has got a high specific heat. Physics में पढ़ा होगा. Specific.
Specific heat?
Imagine.
Yes.
It can absorb heat to a large extent.
Yes.
That's why imagine करो कि जैसे a vehicle, a four-wheeler, अगर चल रहा है एंड
Okay.
बहुत ज्यादा चलने की वजह से इंजन गर्म हो गया तो क्या डालते हैं
हाँ.
उसमें? You add water. तो वो ठंडा कर देते हैं. It is able to
Yes.
absorb that much amount of heat. If you
Okay.
in the hot sun for a long time, okay, you're sweating and you're tired. When you go and take a shower, cool हो जाता है.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
water is the one. When you take a shower means you are using water, no? Milkshake का shower
Yeah.
नहीं, right? So it has got a high specific, right? And
Yeah.
it's high heat of vaporization.
Vaporization. Yeah.
Okay, that's another important property. High heat of fusion. These are all things which are,
Fusion. Yes.
है ना?
Yes.
Vaporization, heat of fusion, ये सब high level पर है. So it's a very interesting property. And it's a thermal buffer. Chemistry.
Oh, you taught me this. Yes, I remember. 10th standard.
What?
Huh?
Chemistry में buffer means what?
Buffer means that if nahi.
Any such compound or a substance which resist any change in the pH, then it is called as a buffer. Any such compound or a substance which resists any change in the pH. So suppose I have hydrochloric acid.
Okay.
What a pH? Suppose से उसका pH है 4. तो उसमें पानी डाल देता हूँ तो उसका pH बदलता नहीं है.
Oh हाँ नहीं.
Concentrated to dilute, but the pH won't change. Getting it? उसमें अगर मैं कोई एसिड या अल्कली डालूंगा तो pH बदलेगा. But
हाँ, yes. Yeah.
Getting
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yes.
Then it has got good adhesive and cohesive forces of attraction. Physics में again,
Adhesive course of म्हणजे
see, according to Newton's law of gravitation, it is that any two objects, any two substances, anywhere in the universe, they have a force of attraction between them. It might be very less, it might be very high. Okay, now when you say adhesive force of attraction, it means the force of attraction between two or more molecules of different types.
molecule.
Suppose I take a glass beaker and I take water in it. So there will be an adhesive force of attraction between the water molecules and the substance of the glass.
Oh, okay, वैसा. Okay.
That is relevant over here also. We will come to that. Okay.
Okay.
Say cohesive force of attraction. It means the force of attraction between same types of molecules. So between one water molecule and another water molecule, there is a cohesive force of attraction.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, समझ गया.
There is something called surface tension.
Surface tension.
You must have seen very small insects. कभी कभी देखते हैं अपने पतले छोटे पैर होते हैं उनके, वो पानी के ऊपर चल के जाते हैं.
Yes.
ऐसा लगता है कि वो पानी में चलते हैं. You must have seen that. How it is able to do that? Its legs are so thin that when it touches the water, okay, there is a minimum amount of pressure to be applied, which will break the surface and the leg should go inside. उसको surface tension. It's a property.
Okay.
Okay, it is something you learn in physics. So insect जब चलता है ना तो उतना pressure डाल नहीं पाते, इतना हल्का है. So before it is the pressure, it is like putting the next step. So it is able to move ahead. तो ऐसा लगेगा जैसे पानी में चल रहा है.
Wow, how cool. Okay.
So it's like
Okay.
in a beaker or in a vessel, you take water. At the surface, there will be like a stretched membrane of water molecules. उसको tension बोलते हैं. The detail.
Oh yes, ये मैंने सीखा है. Yes.
Okay, so water high surface tension, and
Yes.
very significant molecule which connects the physical world with the biological process.
Yes.
Because anywhere in the earth, at a physical, there is water in some or the other form present. If you go to the snow-clad regions, you have ice. If you go to the desert regions, you have groundwater deep inside the earth.
Oh yes.
In the
Yes.
coastal regions, you have salt water. In the inland main region, you have freshwater rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, etc.
Yeah.
In the mangrove region, you have salt water present.
Salt water. Yes.
So ये सब जगह पे पानी present है.
Yes.
And that water is ultimately taken up by living organisms, firstly by plants.
Got it.
Okay,
Yes.
that's why it is said to be a very significant molecule in the biological process. So this was
Okay.
introduction about water which I have given you. Most of it you are aware, but now how these properties are relevant in the plant physiology that we are going to see.
Okay.
Do you understand? Yes.
Yes.
Now, do you know this plant? This is like an example it is shown कि plants क्या क्या adaptation कर लेते हैं अपने अंदर पानी absorb करने के लिए. Do you know which plant is this?
Hi.
Do you know which plant is this?
With aloe vera.
No, it looks like that, but it is not aloe vera.
Banana.
Yeah.
This is.
So this is one example that is shown, okay, which indicates that plants can grow in any environment, but they try their best to absorb water from their environment.
Correct. Yes.
As far as plants are concerned, the major challenge that they are facing is that they start growing, they have to spend entire life in that position. If they don't like the environment around them, they don't have the option of moving somewhere else. They cannot pack their bags and say कि यहाँ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा तो कहीं और चलते हैं. Unlike animals, right? So that's why they have a lot of adaptations. So this is a plant which is called Vanda.
Vanda.
What's the name of the plant?
Oh, Vanda.
Vanda. Okay, it is an epiphyte. ये plant, इसी plant का representation देख. This is a plant which is an epiphyte. That means as it grows on the top of other plant. इसका roots जमीन पे नहीं रहते.
Wow, how cool.
Mostly in the forest, in the wild, if you see mango trees के branches पे ये growth हुए दिखेगा. Okay, so on the branches they are growing, but they are not parasites. They are not causing any harm to the host by growing on another plant. Okay, वो ऐसे grow होते हैं, सिर्फ वहाँ support के लिए grow हुआ है. They are arranging their own water for themselves.
Yes, got it.
In the diagram, ये leaves हैं. These are the clean leaves, जिससे वो plant को पकड़ के रखते.
Oh, okay.
Along with that, they have one more type of roots which are called absorbing roots.
Okay, got it.
Absorbing roots, and the same things you can see over here.
Yes.
Okay. These are just hanging in the air. So in the air, there is a lot of moisture. Roots में वो capability है कि they will directly absorb the moisture from the air.
Oh, okay. Wow.
ऐसे roots का जब हम section लेकर देखेंगे तो you will find a very interesting tissue inside called as filament tissue.
Filament tissue.
Root का section है. Okay, the rest of the things are normal. Cortex है, endodermis, xylem, phloem, pith, everything is there. But उसके अलावा below the epidermis, there is a modified epidermal portion having parenchyma cells, okay, which are modified in such a way that they turn into spongy tissue. कि directly moisture होंगे उसको absorb करेगा ये filament tissue.
Okay, got it.
Which is absorbed, enters through the cortex, goes into the xylem.
Okay, got it.
Adaptation दिखाया जा रहा है जिससे पता चल रहा है कि plants कैसे adapted होते हैं अपने आप के लिए पानी absorb करने. It is not always necessary that it will absorb from the ground. Okay.
That's how
we have already seen in the 11th standard lesson. The different.
Hey, this one. Yes, I remember.
है ना?
Yes.
Any plant, when you see the roots,
Yes.
okay, roots के अलग अलग portions होते हैं. See, ये presentation देखना, nice tree, mango tree or something, but उसके root system देखना कितना spread out है.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Correct. So imagine where
Yes.
hair and all might be present. वहां से पानी एब्सॉर्ब होके मेन रूट मेन ट्रंक से लेकर ऊपर के लीफ तक जाता है.
How cool. Yes.
So ये roots के अलग अलग zones है. So when the roots are growing, they go from their tips. So we have learned about something called apical meristem.
Oh, apical. Yes.
Apical meristem is over here where the root tip is growing, and because it is growing into the soil, so it is physically in contact with the soil. So in order to prevent any injury to the newly growing region, there is something called as a root cap which is present. It protects the growing region of meristematic activity. Root cap सब root में ही मिलेगा. There is nothing called shoot cap in the shoot portion. Okay.